So I know you are a huge fan of music. I love music too. So let me just. What are you listening to right now? What's in your phone, your playlist?
Well, we
Which
can go
album are you
actually.
listening to?
Our albums, I love albums.
Yeah.
You go through such like an emotional journey with albums. I was listening to, as you can see, that I'm not chatting shit, on SoundCloud, Brockout, Jamaica's 53rd Independence official mix.
Okay.
Anyone who knows me knows reggae, dancehall, and soca are my...
It's part of a DNA.
Too much, too deep.
Yeah.
So that's what I was listening to on SoundCloud. If you want to go to my YouTube, I was listening to a new soca rhythm. It's called the One Link Rhythm. It just came out a couple of months ago.
Okay.
Some of my really good friends are on the rhythm, so I was just trying to just do that petty thing of seeing who's best on the rhythm, to be honest.
Yeah.
My YouTube is filled with mainly soca. If you look at, because there's the Calabash rhythm. I'm looking at it now. Jesus Christ, Chiki, change it up. There's the Sunshore's rhythm. There's, You
don't have Kenyan music in your playlist?
I do, but on a different playlist. So I don't normally tend to access Kenyan music via YouTube so much.
Who do you listen to often in Kenya, like Kenyan musicians?
Oh my God, so many. Obviously my husband, shout out.
Right, yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Ben Soul. Whether he was signed to Soul Generation or not would be irrelevant. I mean,
Do you know him before he was signed on?
He was one of the first people I met before his glow up, when his dreads were awful and his styling was even worse. I knew him then.
Ben Soul.
But he's always been super cool. I am a huge Calligraph Jones fan.
Yeah,
you see me in all of his comments. Like, you'll just see me, I'm there. I love Nyashinsky. I think he's a great poet. I'm just a huge fan of Kenyan music in general. Matata, what they're doing with Gengeton, like making it super global.
What are your sentiments about Gengeton? Do you think these kids are misunderstood?
Well, I don't just think they're misunderstood. This is, for me, a perfect example of elitism.
Okay.
Gengeton kids don't say anything that dancehall kids don't say. But dancehall is cool and Gengeton is somehow cool. Immoral.
Double standards.
The double standard is ridiculous to me. I think if you want kids not to say offensive things, change the environments that they live in. It's as simple as that. Because
it's their reality.
It's their reality. And if their reality makes you uncomfortable, take a trip to the hood and realize that is the reality, and change the hood. That's the only thing that you can do. So I'm a huge fan of the push of Gengeton music in general, in the same way I was when grime came out in the UK, in the same way I am with dancehall. Don't be afraid of people's realities. That's nonsense to me. Okay. However, if you're an artist, I don't have a problem with, from an artistic perspective saying, your lyrical content could be broader. Your lyrical content could be better. Your
educate
production,
expand your thinking.
Exactly. We can't have, I was banging 7 chicks in song 1, and then you're still banging 7 chicks in song 28.
That's redundancy.
It's boring. As a consumer, it's boring. Taking the morality away from it, just as a consumer, it's boring. So I think the reason why Matata, I mean, you've just seen they've been nominated for a Mama Award.
Yeah, I saw that.
Have been taken so seriously internationally is they've just upped the game a little bit. They've
a notch higher.
Exactly. And really and truly, we have kids on the ground who are getting 1 million, 2 million, 3 million hits per video. I wish, not that I begrudge Matata, I love them. I'm huge fans of them as people and as artists, but I wish some of the kids who were first out of the gate with Gengeton had, rather than taken people's feedback as negative, tried to see what can we learn from some of it, and upped it. Because I would love to see Ochungulo being nominated for Mamas. I would love to see Sailors being nominated for Mamas. It's just not happening because Matata did what people said all these guys should do.
By the way. So right, so accurate. Wow. So let's talk about you being a voice in society, like not just now goes beyond dancing. I'm thinking so many girls, teenage girls, young ladies look up to you and listen to you. Do you ever feel overwhelmed? Do you feel like you need to be a role model? Do you feel like you have a responsibility in society to be.
No, because I'm the first person to say don't listen to
upright.
I'm the first person to say don't listen to what I say. I've made more errors than like most people.
Okay.
All I can do is talk about what my experience is. And if you get something from that, well and good. If you don't get something from that and you just want to watch me twerk,
yes,
well and good as well.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with either road.
Okay.
I think it starts to become really cringy. Again, I'm not going to mention names, but there are a lot of kind of people who all of a sudden kind of take this godlike role. And that makes me so uncomfortable because we're all
human
flawed.
Beings.
We're all flawed human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't acknowledge that to begin with, it's uncomfortable.
Yes.
So I think I try and stay as authentic as possible. Look, I'm going to make more fuck ups in a day than most people are. The only difference is I'm going to try and go home and be real with myself, think about how you could have done better. If I was impatient because someone was taking too long to turn left and I beeped for a long time, I'm going to go home and ask myself, was that really constructive? Did that make that person turn left faster? Probably not.
No.
You probably just irritated them, made them feel stressed out, and then added to what was a negative experience in their day.
Yeah.
I will never tell anyone anything other than what has been my experience.
And do you feel like other celebrities, role models in society, do you feel like they have that, they should play that role? Like, let's say you have kids and they're listening to these people and they're kind of misleading them. Do you feel like they need to reframe the rhetoric, the direction maybe the art is taking, once now you have like kids who look up to them? But you feel like what they're saying is not appropriate.
No, and I think there's too much emphasis on artists and not enough emphasis on gatekeepers.
Okay.
If you're a CEO of a radio company, you choose who you put in front of the mic. That's who we need to be asking the questions of.
Yes.
Not people. People are just people. People have the right to say and do whatever it is they want to say and do.
Freedom of speech.
It only becomes problematic when they're given microphones on big platforms.
Yeah.
Now, I believe if you're a big platform, it should be very clear as a consumer what you stand for. So if you're a big platform and you stand for racist or tribalist rhetoric, I can then determine whether I want to consume that or not. So if all of your people are on your mics are tribalist, that again is not a problem, because from the outset, you've said, this is We Hate All Tribes platform. You've decided to switch on. You're going to get the great haters of the world on that platform. But I think it becomes problematic when you have mainstream platforms who allegedly just stand for soft entertainment. Giving people with mics who have very dangerous and problematic views, that's when it becomes a problem. Not the person themselves. The person themselves is whoever they are. They don't have any responsibility above and beyond making a paycheck. I really believe that.
All right.
They're just a person. They got hired for being that person. They got celebrated for being that person. They try and secure the bag. They got the bag for being, but they got the bag for being that person.
Being that person,
If you of your whole like career said anti-female things, and then a radio station gives you a mic, are you going to stop saying anti-female things? Why would you? You got your mic for the anti-female things that you said, right? My question then becomes to the radio station, why did you give this person a mic? Because you giving them a mic makes it feel like that kind of sentiment is something that you support. And if it is, I don't want to support you. But what's confusing is your show afterwards might have feminist ABC. So then it's like, well, what do you as a station stand for?
All right. Speaking of radio, you did radio. I keep telling you, you are a breath of fresh air. I listen to you a lot. Do you plan to go back?
No.
Why?
I struggled with sitting down for all those hours. I'm going to be honest with you.
Your back hurt.
My back hurt. My ass hurt. Everything hurt. No, I'm a physical person. I've been a dancer since I was 7?
Okay.
I'm a very physical person. So sitting down in front of a mic is great. It's powerful. You get to go directly to people's eardrums. It's not for me.
So you don't plan to go back to...
I wouldn't mind if I was given like a 1-hour segment once a week. I could roll with that, but no one is going to be doing that anytime soon. So I would prefer to just be on my own platforms, things like this, things like podcasts, have the opportunity to spread the kind of light that you want to spread, and then go back to running around if that's what it is that you want to do.
What was your biggest lesson on radio the time you've been on air, interacting with people from all, walks
Different
of life.
walks of life.
Yeah. What do you pick from it?
That is not for me. It's a very different skill from TV. TV I really enjoyed, really, really enjoyed, just because it's so movement, it's so fast, it's so fast paced. With radio, you really have to plan. But I learned, I think, so much about Kenya in a very different way. So you know me, I've always been in hoods. I've never been the type to shy away from those kind of spaces. Yes. But it was great having to research. So it wasn't just, I've been to Kibra, this was the vibe. Yeah, now it was,
you don't know the truth.
These are the stats, these are the figures, information. I also learned, I think this is going to be a controversial statement.
You just say it,
But I stand by it. Mainstream media is dying faster than, I don't know,
than anything else.
Than anything else.
It's having a slow death.
It's having a fast death.
Fast death, okay.
Because I think so many people who are in positions of power are not connected so much to the ground. I don't consume radio. Why? Because if I want to listen to music, I don't want someone in between. Like, you've got Brakaf, you're back. Okay, and that was a great song. What we're going to do now, we're going to talk about female genital mutilation. I'm like, I'm not here for that. I'm here to listen to some great music and keep it moving. However, I also love conversation. Yes. So for me, I am a podcast consumer and I'm a mixed consumer. Do you see what I mean? And I think actually more people fall into that bracket than they do any other bracket. If you're in the mood for conversation, give me some great conversation. If I'm in a mood for music, shut up and give me music.
Music, yeah.
And I feel like in the same way, there should never have been a Spotify or an iTunes whilst there was an MTV. MTV should have naturally gravitated and taken up that space. There should never have been a space for podcasts.
But they didn't. Now us guys are here now.
But there should never have been a space for podcasts. Radio should naturally have said, maybe selling someone unga halfway through a flipping dancehall mashup isn't the best thing to do. Maybe a better thing to do would be give uninterrupted music, sell all the unga you like in between, give uninterrupted conversation, and then, do it like that, which is probably going to keep you more people than... So podcasts are huge. Music mixes are huge. SoundCloud is huge.
Very huge.
All of these things are huge because
it's the future.
It's the future. And my biggest frustration with radio is I like to feel as if I'm being part of the next wave rather than the wave that's dying out.
And radio is not the next wave, of course.
Radio is the Facebook of social media.
Wow. The Facebook of social media. Wow, interesting. So
I want to be on TikTok.
You want to be on TikTok?
I don't know how to use TikTok, but I want to be.
I'm not on TikTok.
Oh, it looks dope though.
They can tell us. All right, that's cool. I'm gonna talk about some, I call it personality sentiments. I'm gonna mention a name. Maybe some people you know personally.
Okay. I hate them all.
You never met them. Maybe you're just a fan of them.
Okay.
And you're going to give me your thoughts about them.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to start with...
You're going to get so irritated with me because I am a supremely positive human being. So it's going to be like, I love them. But anyway, go on. Unless you say... like Saddam Hussein or Hitler.
Okay.
I probably won't say I love them.
Can you take a guess, maybe?
Nah.
All right. Let's start with... the late great Wangari Maathai.
I love her.
I know you love her.
Huge fan.
What do you think about her?
I think if we had a voice like Wangari right now, especially with all the conversation that's happening around climate change, we would be in a better place. Not necessarily saying that anything would change, but we need strong voices who have a passion and a care about the environment in the world right now, in a way that doesn't put people off. What Wangari was able to do, because she seemed so in love, was inspire.
She was so in love.
Yeah. Deeply. So she was inspirational, and she was a woman, and she was, slightly older. Instead, what we have is kind of like young kids speaking in a way that I think alienates older people. Do you see what I mean? So I think she would be right now such an amazing global voice, and we are worse off for not having her voice right now. Okay,
interesting. Next personality, the OG, Calligraph Jones.
Oh my gosh, first of all, I love him.
I know you love him.
Too much. Troll Calligraph's Instagram comments. 70% are from me. I love Calligraph so much. and I'm going to be so real. When I first came, I didn't get it. I didn't get why he was so popular. Genuinely. I was like, this guy has a weird half American accent. My Swahili isn't good enough to understand what the hell he's talking about anyway. What is the thing? And then I saw
what gets people?
What gets people?
Yeah.
Why are people ready to slit their wrists for this guy? Then I saw him live for the first time. And I saw him live at a concert where he came on just before Rick Ross. 10 minutes into Rick Ross's set, I was like, I could go home because I've seen The Star tonight, and The Star is Calligraph. Callie has a way of connecting with people, especially live.
It's a common touch
that I have never seen of anyone else ever. Now, at that time when I first came here and I first started consuming him, his whole vibe was unapproachableness. That was his thing. Since he's had kids, I didn't think I could love him more. Like after that concert, genuinely, I was ready to pledge allegiance to the flag of the OG. But since he's had kids and his whole social kind of personality has changed, you see him with his wife, you see him with his daughter, you see him with his
dad,
son, and you see more of him, like Calligraph the human. I just think he is doing an amazing job to show all the little OGs out of there that you can be sentimental, you can be loving, and still be an OG.
And still run your business.
I love how unashamedly confident he is in his talent.
He is confident, he is.
But I feel like as Kenyans, that is needed. So many Kenyans have been taught this fake, humble crap.
Doesn't work.
That doesn't work. When you're competing with us Nigerians who are going to walk in and say, we are the best.
And South Africans.
If you're not equally saying, if you've got then a Kenyan saying, well, we're all right. I love how OG just goes head to head with those Nigerian rappers. It's like, what do you mean? I am the OG. You're not even a G. Yeah, I love him.
Wow. I'm a fan too. He's my friend. So your personal friend, Talia. I know you guys are besties.
Yep.
What do you think about her personality and your friendship maybe? I don't know.
Our friendship, okay, so Talia is obviously one of my best friends. Talia is an interesting person because she's been in the public eye for so long.
Yes.
I've learned so much from her in terms of like, Talia is very, unless you know Talia personally, you don't know Talia. You know Night Nurse. Two completely different. You can see Talia in public, she's always going to be friendly, she's always going to be cool, she's always going to be good vibes. She stands for reggae music, she's done so much
for the business,
for the industry. But behind closed doors, what a lot of people don't know is how loyal she is. Talia, I think if I were to fall down the stairs here, I would call her before I called my husband because I know she's going to drop everything. She's going to come. She's going to be there. She's going to make sure you're okay before you go home. And there's been so many incidents like that where the first person I've called is her. The last person to leave me is her.
Okay.
Talia is one of the realest, dopest women I know.
Big up Talia. Yeah. Our mutual friend, Heno, ZJ Heno.
Can't stand him. What?
I saw that coming.
Cancel Heno.
Cancel Heno.
How do I feel? Heno, it was so funny. No one expected us to be as good friends as we are. Because I think the misconception here is, like, from London, people can tell that my accent is very street. But I think in Kenya, as soon as you hear a British accent, it's bougie. Despite the fact we have so many different British accents, and mine is like street. I don't speak like this, which is how like wealthy people speak. Yeah, exactly. So it's funny, in England, I'm like, that hood bitch. In Kenya, I'm like, this bougie ass bitch. So, but because we're both fundamentally hood at heart.
Yes.
We understood one another from the start. And I think anyone who has spent time in underprivileged environments knows loyalty and trust are everything.
It's everything, yeah.
So we stand by loyalty and trust.
Yeah.
You will never hear Heno or me saying anything negative about people who we consider to be in our circle. If we're in a space where there's a potential to bring someone in, I'm bringing in my people first, and unashamedly, I'm not even going to try and make excuses for it. Not just because they're my people, because I think they're the best, genuinely. I don't think there's anyone in Kenya who understands dancehall music, maybe G Money, but who really understands dancehall music,
like
reggae, like Heno. I really stand by that.
Yeah.
I think Heno, however, and I hope you listen to this, you asshole, Heno needs to have more faith in himself, because he
needs to be more confident.
Not confident necessarily, because I think he's confident in his skill set. But Heno needs to do some OG shit. Heno needs to walk into a room and be like, I'm DJ Heno. Yeah. Like, you're going to pay me.
Give me a seat.
Give me a seat. Because I feel like right now, the Heno that we see and that we know, the people who are in the tables making decisions don't see that, don't know that.
Okay.
And I know this personally because I've tried to work with him and his team booking gigs. I know how much some of those other DJs make.
Yes.
What then they quote for Heno and us is insulting comparatively. So I think that's partly because Heno is so humble to a point of negative, like it's to the point where it's negative. Doesn't walk into a room and be like, and he doesn't have anyone in his team to be like, fuck, this is DJ Heno. Are you mad? He needs some of Calligraph's OG juice.
They're personal friends. They should have this conversation.
Maybe they have. I don't know.
Yeah. Wow, interesting. Your love for Kenya is undeniable. You know, you love Kenya. So you've been here for 6 years plus. That's right. 7 years. 7 years now. So what have you learned and picked from us guys? I know we are annoying.
No. You're not annoying. You're not annoying.
We can be, I don't know, what do you think about us Kenyans?
Good question.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think of an answer that's not what I think.
Just say whatever is on your mind.
No. Because some of the things are just true to humans in general. They're not specific to Kenya. I think what I would love Kenyans in general to be more self-confident in general.
Yeah.
I would love Kenyans to own the global space that I feel like they rightly deserve. I feel like so much talent comes from Kenya, but there's
leaders too. Leadership too. Leaders too come from Kenya. So many leaders from Kenya.
Yeah. Industry leaders come from Kenya.
Yeah.
So I feel like, as someone who hasn't been born here, who's been in many European countries, I wish all Kenyans could see how Kenya is thought of outside of Kenya, which unfortunately is not much. The way British people see Kenya is just runners. Oh yeah, they've got fast people. You see what I mean? The way Nigerians see Kenyans is easy chicks. The way Belgians see Kenyans, again, is athletics. Kenya has so much to offer the world, but like ZJ Heno, don't enter spaces.
They don't dominate and own the space.
And I think the problem is your average Kenyan isn't aware of how they're viewed globally. So if you were to say that, let me tell you one negative thing. Kenyans are defensive as fuck.
They don't take responsibility.
They don't take feedback at all.
They don't listen.
So if you were to try and say that, and from someone like me who has not gone to my country, who has when there's been global competitions insisted they happen here rather than in Nigeria, which would have been very easy for me to execute. Know that anything I say is coming from a place of love and of a place where I want better shit. I want my company to do better, and that only happens if Kenya's economy does better. Kenyans don't like to be told, your corruption is almost up there with Nigeria.
They don't love the truth.
They don't like that at all. So until that happens, it's impossible to have a conversation about how to better yourself, because you have to see where you are before you move. Yeah.
I hope they're listening and watching. They need to work on that. Be more confident and own the space.
Be more confident, own the space, and be more self-critical. Know where the errors lie.
Take criticism too.
But it depends who you're taking it back from. Because taking criticism from everyone is just bullshit, to be honest. Because it might be because of their own kind of like self-insecurities or whatever. But facts speak volumes. Data speaks volumes. That you can just go on the corruption index, CPI, and see where Kenya stands. It doesn't even have to be a debate. You can just look at the best paid musicians in the world. You can just look at, the facts are just readily available. There is a problem there. So until that problem is fixed, then it's impossible
we can't move forward.
And we're letting down every young person until that happens.
Wow. I guess you're making very valid sentiments. I hope they listen and execute.
Or not.
Or not. They don't have to.
They don't have to.
Wow. All right. This is amazing, Chiki. Let me just. I want to know your thoughts about what do you think this pandemic thing. We can't sit down and not talk about it because we still have you here. What has been the biggest lesson from it? You personally, as Chiki, and also maybe for the world and us guys as human beings. What do you think?
So two things. big up Kenya, because this is one of the few moments where we as Africans can say we handled this better than everyone in such a public way that the world can see it. And if we don't develop on that narrative, it's going to be forgotten. It's going to be forgotten that in Kenya we had a mask mandate very early on. It's going to be forgotten that we had a curfew very early on. It's going to be forgotten all the things that our government did and fellow African governments did to protect its citizens when Europe was not doing it, when America was not doing it. We cannot let the narrative be told by white people, because they will tell the story that, yeah, but Africans are just younger, but Africans are just stronger, but Africans... No, our policies were better. We did better by our people.
We did.
The UK still doesn't have a proper mask mandate. They're in and out of lockdown. You've got over 1,000 people dying every single day because of negligence. We didn't do that. So I feel like this is a moment as African people, we need to stand up and be counted and demand that the world sees what we did during this period of time.
That's not to say
learn from us.
Yes.
Because we're always being told that we should learn from them, right? No, right now you need to learn from us. That's not to say that we can't also analyze what we could have done better. But if you compare us to the rest of the world, we killed
pretty
it.
Much better.
We killed it. So learn from us, America. Learn from us,
Europe,
England.
Asia.
Learn from us, France, Italy, Spain. Another thing that I think is it woke up people who've been lazy. What I mean by that is, let me just take myself as an example. So much of my work could have been digital. Back in the day when DVDs were the thing, people used to ask me for DVDs of my work. And I was like, Then people used to ask me to do a YouTube channel. I was like,
and you're like, I'm well, but...
COVID happened and I was like, bitch, I need digital shit right now. So I think it woke up so many of us who should have been doing more beforehand,
Me too.
who knew we should have been doing more beforehand and gave us better ways of working. And that's not to say after the pandemic finishes, we won't go back to some of our old habits, but we should also try and keep some of the other digital ways that so many companies have been working. I think it showed companies like Homeboys. Homeboys, G Money's morning show ran from his house for months. If every radio station were able to provide that, first of all, it would have led the way for a lot of communication. Second, it would have showed how amazing digitally we are in Kenya. I mean, you try calling someone in South Africa, the internet cuts out every few seconds, and that's not because of Kenya's side, that's because of South Africa's side. So tech is our thing. Again, we need to own that narrative. The amazing things that were done in the digital space during this time, if we do not own that narrative, it will be told for us. And again, so many. And they will distort the
story. They will tell a different story.
Of course.
They will tell our story.
Well, they just probably just whitewash it. There'll be no story. Or it'll be a story like, the WHO and the IMF fund gave $10 million for Kenyan investments to start up. That's bullshit. Kenyans were doing dope tech things before, and during COVID have been doing some dope tech things. So we need to make sure that we're very loud about that.
What do you think about our leadership? There's so much being said about Kenyan leadership. You know, how, they're selfish, they are corrupt, just... nothing positive about them. What do you think about our leadership here, our politicians? Like, what do you think about them? Your honest opinion.
For that, I would really probably prefer not to comment, because I feel like anytime you're trying to analyze leadership, it's really important to understand the tonality of everything that comes with it. And I've only been here for 7 years. There's so many layers. Colonialism, tribalism, money, economics, all of those things, dynasty families, things like dynasty families, we don't have that in Nigeria. So it's really hard for me to comment because I'm still trying to understand it myself. But as a continent in general, I feel like too often our narrative is told for us. I think the thing that I've loved the most about Trump, Boris Johnson,
they disrupted the story.
Some of the leaders showed that actually human beings are fallible. Power is problematic.
It is.
And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, corruption exists. We need to stop talking about corruption as if it's an African problem.
It's a global
issue. World problem, exactly. there are going to be some things that are different. There are going to be some things that we should do better.
Yes.
That's not saying that we shouldn't do things better. But I definitely think we need to be much more conscious about the narrative that we allow out there about ourselves and the narrative that we tell one another. Because we love to say, hey, Nigerians are corrupt, but we don't want to say Americans are corrupt, despite the fact that as a developed country, they have some of the worst poverty levels in the entire world. We just need to be kinder to ourselves first and foremost, and more aware of the global statistics told by us and from us.
Okay, interesting. You spoke about choosing out your hard, in one of your posts. That struck me, that post, and I said, I'm going to ask you this. You spoke about we all have hearts to choose, maybe marriages you had, work. What do you consider when you're choosing your heart? Do you consider your happiness, your mental health? What's the consideration when you're choosing your heart?
I think I try and look at long term what is going to be the best from the perspective of my mental health, my physical health, my health, my family health.
Yes.
My home, and my pocket. Like all of those things come into consideration.
Yes.
And then I try and think, okay, in the short run, this might be the harder option, but in the long run, what am I going to get the most out of? Yeah.
Right. So, what do you tell people listening and watching maybe right now, and they're thinking, what should I put myself first? Is that selfish, or should I look out for the largest society and humanity? Should they draw the line?
Yeah,
is it about you?
Yeah, that's interesting, because I think if you, first and foremost, you're born alone, you'll die alone.
Yeah.
So, human beings are inherently selfish, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
They are, yeah.
But I think true selfishness requires you to think of your community. So, for example, if you don't care, like I care, about your Mboche's wages, your security guard's wages. Wealthy people who have done dodgy dealings under the table like to be loud in their disappointment at how unsafe Karen is. Karen is unsafe because there's windy back roads and you've got people who are not earning the same amount as you.
There's a disparity.
There's a disparity. So fairness in society is selfish, but it also makes for good societies. If everyone thought of from the perspective of what's important, I want to be safe, I want to live in a good house, I want to do all of, I don't want to be worried about theft, my mental health is important, my physical health is important, all of that. It would be selfish, but it would also be societal. When in the UK we got a minimum wage, you think that was because there was some flipping Gandhi who came down and said...
No one came down.
It wasn't anything to do with that. It was the realization that as we ensure that our lowest labor workforce earns a decent amount, they are able to grow. The economy is able to grow. When the economy is able to grow, everyone benefits. When people can provide for their families, they don't want to steal. People are not inherently thefts. Stealing comes from overwhelmingly desperation, need at the lower end. At the higher end, I actually think it's a psychological disorder, but at the lower end, when someone is stealing your phone or something like that, it's theft or it's involvement, community involvement. You're part of a gang, you feel more kind of like engaged in that than you do in your own family. None of those things would exist if we were fairer to everyone.
Yeah, by the way, you're right.
So I think you balance those two things out. Yes, you want the best for yourself, but what does that mean in the long run? That means good communities, good economies, good roads, all of those things. That's what that means.
Absolutely amazing. We're just inspiring confidence right now, to people listening and watching. What's next for you as Chiki? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna stick around here in Kenya? Are you gonna?
I mean, my husband's here now. I'm shackled to the place.
I just want to know.
Unless he wants to leave.
What's the next move for you?
So this is, I think, the first time I'm going to say this on any platform.
Yes.
So on the 1st of March, I opened my studio. It's under construction at the moment.
Congratulations. That's a major move. It's a boss move.
Freaking
It's a queen move. You say you don't want the title of queen.
Nah. Call me just the home move.
All right,
I'm cool with that.
All right.
I'm tired. Dealing with construction. So I went through this whole thing of pitching for money, getting investors, finally getting investment, setting up the space exactly how I wanted it. So in line with some of the things that we were talking about, I wanted a space where people felt positive, safe, free, uplifted. If you're a chick and you want to come and wear your underwear and twerk, you're welcome to do that.
It's a free society.
It's a free society. It's a free space. It's going to be running dance sessions. So I was also very aware that during COVID that alternative fitness, there aren't that many options locally. So it was about that. But the studio is 60% digital. So the tagline is from Africans by Africa to the world. So the concept is, again, re-owning that narrative. If there's going to be a narrative, let it be us that tells it. So from the perspective of dance, which is my space,
your space,
making sure that our dance instructors, African dance is being taught by African people. You've noticed there's this whole wave of African dance being taught by non-African people. Dance hall being taught by non-Jamaican people or non-black people. That's because the Westerners have money and time to package themselves properly.
Absolutely.
And education. For me, it's about creating a digital space for us to package our culture how we want it, our fashion how we want it, our dance how we want it, but in a way that's good enough that we can export it. And maybe Karen, Jimmy, and Jane will also want to consume it.
All right. You just answered the question. So you're sticking around for a minute. You ain't going anywhere.
I mean, digital things can be run anywhere in the world, so I wouldn't necessarily say that. But no, I'm here for the long run. All
right. That's a confident answer, I think. All right. Thank you for your time, Chiki.
Thank you.
This is the Confident One, Conscizi podcast. We had a great time. Thank you for coming.
Too much fun. Conscizi is the only motherfucker that would come in a Saturday afternoon after being up since 4 a.m., teaching 4 hours of workout, not yet eating. This is the only dude that I would do this for.
I appreciate you, Chiki, of course. I'm down for you anytime too. Hit me up. All right. Thank you for your time. All right.